we should be getting past that part which YouTube always clips in the beginning of the episode. Therefore, let's get into the matter. One of the most idiotic things that I encounter in Western media, of course reflected in the Romanian media as well, where I live currently, is the fact that Russia has no red lines. It is a sort of it is a sort of heuristic that the probably the decision makers are using, the Western decision makers in this proxy war against Russia, and which is then passed on, reflected into the media, which is very, of course, very plays by their tune. Um, there's this idea that unfortunately our decision makers go by, that since Russia has not responded so far, in the sense that it has not retaliated towards the West, and it has not made it, yeah, basically it has not used any nuclear weapons or any weapons of mass destruction and so on and so forth. That means, in a sort of faulty logic, that it will never do that. I've seen interviews of so-called specialists. Of course, like since the pandemic, probably this was going on also before. The people who are brought on television or on mainstream media to give their opinion and are labeled specialists, experts into the matter, they're just the people. Okay, they have the right credentials, but they're there just to express the adherence to the official viewpoint. There are other experts, even with better credentials, who are not called on mainstream media to give their opinion, and therefore the public forms this idea that there's some sort of consensus, some sort of scientific consensus. Are the experts have reached a consensus regarding this topic, and therefore any any heterodox views, any ideas outside the margins set out by the experts are somehow I don't know, treasonous or ill-informed or just propaganda of the enemy and so on. So, for example, a Romanian historian who teaches at the Faculty of Political Science here in Bucharest has stated recently in an interview that yeah, Ukraine should be given all sorts of weapons that it has not been given so far, alluding even to nuclear weapons, and saying that the concern that Russia might retaliate against the West is just nonsense, because it hasn't done so in the past. So yeah, if you can imagine, this is the level of expertise of these people. And of course, you can find this line of argument in foreign policy, in foreign affairs, in The Economist, Financial Times, all of the Western mainstream media. Uh, you find all sorts of academics who keep on going, saying that since Russia has not shown so far that it is inclined to retaliate against the West, that it will never do so, and that we can easily just allow ourselves to do whatever we want against Russia. Of course, this is a complete folly. It's just it's not only a fallacy, it's something that you as a decision maker, as a strategist, should never allow yourself to do. It's one of the greatest sins of strategy. This, together with maybe the moralization of international affairs, this is also something that is a huge mistake. The fact that you say that you will not talk to your enemy because that's appeasement, and yeah, it's a battle between good and evil, and the good does not negotiate with the evil, and so on. So yeah, it's a grave mistake, and it's also a huge mistake, as I was saying, to just assume that the other side will just take it and take it and take it, and it will never retaliate. So right now we're in the stage where NATO weapons, NATO machinery have crossed into the part of Russia which is legitimately internationally recognized as being Russian, as opposed to the new territories. And The West considers this to be still not a red line because Russia has not retaliated in any way. Therefore, the West keeps on saying that, yeah, we should do more and more and more. And I know, bomb Moscow with long range weapons and so on. So, yeah, it's kind of a stupid thing to do. It's one thing if it's just for strategic communication. I don't know if it's like these people tell the press this just because it sounds good and it makes them feel powerful. But the problem is that there's this pretty good chance that they actually think this, just like they thought non the other nonsense that they fed the media in 2022, in 2023, like that the Russian economy is in shambles, that Russia is isolated internationally, that Putin has no popular support, and so on. So this might just be the strategy to make yourself believe all sorts of nonsense that makes you look good in front of your domestic audience. So yeah, this is something that, well, it doesn't really have much to do with geopolitics. It has more to do with propaganda, with the way the West propagandizes its own citizenry, and it makes people believe a certain narrative that is completely impossible. It's just, I mean, how can you think about delivering a strategic defeat to a country which has the largest arsenal of nuclear weapons? It is, of course, in their doctrine that they will, at some point, use those nuclear weapons if their existence is threatened. So once the existence of the state, the continuity of the state is threatened, of course they will go on and use nuclear weapons. However, as Kaja Kallas, the head of the European diplomacy, recently said, the former Estonian prime minister, there's no point in talking to Russia. We should just defeat them and then break them into pieces. The Balts, representatives of the Baltic countries, have stated in the previous couple of years the most extreme positions imaginable regarding Russia. I mean, it's one thing to help Ukraine, and it's another one to envisage a future in which Russia is broken up, torn apart, as they say, decolonized. I've heard this narrative as well, being set forth that Russia is an empire. It needs to be decolonized. It is rather a civilization state, as they like to put it, just like China is, just like Iran is, just like India is. Of course, it is a multinational state, just like great powers generally are, and all of these emerging Asian powers are. But that doesn't exactly make it a colonial empire in the sense that the British colonial empire was, or that the French colonial empire was, because they're all equal citizens. Even though there are these ethnic republics, those people have exactly the same rights as the other Russians, the ethnic Russians, and so on. And the ethnic Russians are make up a majority of most of the Russian subjects, Russian federal subjects, including those republics. But anyway, yeah, so in the West they also come with this narrative that we have to break Russia apart, we have to break it up into some fiefdoms run by local warlords which should be fighting each other. And this is something that the representatives of the Baltic countries have said repeatedly. So basically they would like to, maybe not to balkanize Russia, but rather to Balticize Russia, so to break up Russia into parts that would be comparable to the Baltic countries, something that the Balts could feel more comfortable with in terms of having a neighbor. I can understand it's not comfortable to be a country of I don't know, less than 2 million people, or less than 1 million, just like Estonia is less than 1 million Estonians. the total population is above 1 million, but there's a sizable minority of ethnic Russians, and the ethnic Estonians make up less than 1 million people, you know. So yeah, I can understand it's not very comfortable to picture yourself as a country when your population is less than 1 million people, and at the same time to have as neighbor the largest country on earth. But at the same time, they should have come up with a way to just cohabit, to just try to lead a peaceful coexistence with their larger neighbor, even though they had some problems in the past. Because this whole idea of decolonizing Russia, breaking Russia apart, um, well, I think also Kaya Kallas said a couple of months ago that we should destroy their culture so that they should never feel proud about being Russian anymore. This is like, I don't know, the mouse making plans about wrestling the elephant and putting the elephant in its place. You know, it's like it's absolutely crazy, crazy talk. And of course, Russia has procedures in place exactly to make sure it avoids this kind of outcome. There are many great civilizations that perished, and Russia wants to make sure that it is not one of them. This is why it has in its nuclear doctrine and its military doctrine the fact that it will, of course, use nuclear weapons in case it is fighting a losing war. Not only in the case that it might be attacked with nuclear weapons, but also if it loses a conventional war on its territory, and the kind of outcome that Kaya Kallas and the Baltic countries want is about to happen. So this is why, yeah, it's nice to dream, but it's even nicer to be realistic and to try to make something out of what you have rather than just this wishful thinking. But anyway, uh, so this is what I wanted to tell you today, and in order to quote a classic, if you like what I do, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment below. So see you next time. Bye.